We are live, back with another edition of your wildest fantasy football show, a Thursday edition with a big game tonight between my Colts and the Second Take Extras Jets. There's going to have to be some kind of wager put on the line for that I'm sure we will get into with him later on in the show. But we have a lot to talk about, not only this Thursday night game, but a ton of breaking news happening while we were gone.
Right.
A ton more games on the Sunday slate. So let's get right into it, starting off with tonight's game. We have a lot of those breaking news things. We'll probably just go through them as we go through the games because then we won't have to rehash a bunch of things.
Right.
Start off with tonight, Jets at Colts. Jets coming off of a big win at Cincinnati. A lot of players coming off of really good fantasy performances. The Colts coming off of a tough loss, but we do have some solid fantasy options there. We talked about a lot of these guys pretty consistently. Like Michael Carter and Michael Pittman are probably two of the biggest Michaels that we hit on throughout the show.
Right.
So I don't really want to keep rehashing is Michael Carter here to stay? Do you keep Michael Pittman in the lineup? Kind of talked about that a lot. But I do want to talk about, just for this game, who is in your starting lineup from the Jets and who is in your starting lineup from the Colts.
So for the Jets, I said Crowder and Carter are starts. Moore is a risky start if you're going to start him. And for Indy, I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor, I'm loving. I like Carson Wentz if you're like streaming a quarterback. Then he has a good chance to perform this week. It is a Thursday night game though, but it's against the Jets, so that should even it out. I like Pittman, and I said it could be a good Pascal game too. So I'm not Moore and Pascal are kind of deeper leagues on bye, I guess. But those two are guys I'm having my eye on this week, just to see how they do in tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the same list. I think that Crowder is definitely a person in your flex that you would consider.
Right.
Obviously, Carter, Pittman, Taylor, we said we're starting all of those guys. I think in a deeper league, like you said, if you really are in a pinch and you have to start Pascal or you have to start Elijah Moore, those are okay plays. I would try to stay away from that as much as I could. But if you're in like a 14-team league or something like that, or if you're looking for a tournament play as far as DFS is concerned, I think Elijah Moore could be a cheap option there. Also, Colts defense is a pretty good streaming option if you could. They also have the Jags next week, so you could keep them for more than 1 week. They've also just been a good defense. I talked about going into last week. They had a fumble recovery in every game so far this year until last week because I jinxed them. And I think there's only 2 games that they do not have a interception. So it's either 2 or 3. Still very good at turning the ball over for the Colts. They're not, I don't think they're the best defense, but they're really good at forcing turnovers. Would you consider streaming Carson Wentz? I know that we're going to probably talk about Aaron Rodgers later in the show. And he's obviously out with COVID this week. So if you lost Aaron Rodgers or if you have Brady on bye or in any other circumstance where you need a quarterback, would you consider streaming Carson Wentz?
Yeah, I think I said it. I said I'd consider starting Carson if you're going to stream quarterback. Carson he's not the quarterback that I want on my team. I have Kyler Murray. That's sort of like the guys I like to go for. But Carson Wentz, he's had a good season. I mean, he has the same amount of games above 20 points as he does below 10. So I guess it's like a nice balance there. He will get you It looks like he'll get you the teens just about every single week. Hard to beat that, really. So I like it, especially against the Jets. Jets' pass defense has been surprisingly good this year. In terms of like fantasy value, their pass defense has been pretty good. So that like offers a little bit of hesitation, but I don't hate it if you start Carson Wentz. Just with quarterbacks on bye and quarterbacks injured and a little banged up, I don't think it's a bad decision.
Yeah, I would just look and make sure there are no better options out there.
Mhm.
Like, I know that Tua limited yesterday. We have to, I guess, see how he's looking, but I don't expect it to interfere with him playing. I would personally rather start Tua. You look at Taysom Hill, if he's still out there and things are trending up for him, I would rather start Taysom Hill this weekend against Atlanta than Carson Wentz. I know we're going to talk about that game actually next, and that might be something that me and Cody continue to disagree on. But, I mean, I think we pretty much hashed it out. Besides, we have to talk with the Second Take Extra once they get here to figure out what the punishment's going to be. I, as you could probably tell, am not in the typical location that I usually record from. There's no Rudy Rudiger over my shoulder, but which does make me feel a little out of place. I'm also in an open room, so I don't think anybody else will care about this. But there's going to be moments where the sun is just gleaming in like it is now, and then there's going to be moments where it's just pitch black, and there's nothing I can really do to control that behind me. Which I would apologize for, but I don't think anybody cares besides me.
I mean, hey, you know what the song says? Let the sun shine down on me.
But the problem is, sometimes the sun isn't going to shine down on me. And what the heck am I supposed to do then? Nothing. It's really
You're supposed to just sing the song to make the sun come back and shine down on you.
We'll see how.
Yeah, it's like a game of cat and mouse.
How vocal I feel. Yeah. But I'm obviously out in a remote location in the mountains. I don't want to report too specifically because I'm not sure that anybody knows I'm here, even the people who own the house. So I don't want them to be alerted of that.
Hey, Jets about to win, baby.
Yes, the Second Take Extra has arrived. We need your help in choosing what my punishment is. I'm not sure if the Colts do lose. I'm not sure how long I'm going to have time to stick around because I might have to hit the slopes tomorrow. Out at the mountain, obviously. So if the Colts do lose, it might be a little bit tougher to be here. I might be in a bit of a rush, but we can.
I think. I mean, I think just speaking for Second Take Extra here. I think that if the Colts lose, I think you have to pay for my bet this week, a $5 parlay.
I already paid enough for you. I'm paying to get your audio fixed. We did work on that. Cody is on a different device for today, but hopefully by the end of the day, he will get a tripod that keeps his phone speaker off of the coffee table or wherever he's recording.
It was on books. It was, on the good word.
Second Take Extra, you did not explicitly tell us that you were a Jets fan, but it was very much inferred that you were a Jets fan. That's why me and you have a big rivalry tonight. And there's going to be a lot of pride on the line.
Right. Pride, money, power.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next game on the docket here, Atlanta at New Orleans. Obviously, I would say some pretty big breaking news from New Orleans. Michael Thomas announced on his Twitter that he has had an issue with his ankle that requires him to miss the rest of the season. This pretty tough one for me, seeing as I have Michael Thomas in a lot of my leagues. And before the season, I said that he is one of my all-in players.
Yeah.
This is why I should probably not be allowed to speak in public, just one of the many reasons.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, but
if it's any consolation, I think everyone had the expectation. I said it in the league we're in together. I said, you stole Michael Thomas from me, literally the round I'm about to take him, like 3 picks ahead of me, then I think you stole like 2 other people during the draft. But I was like, I looked at Alexis and I said, he stole my guy. And she's like, who? And I said, Michael Thomas. I was like, he's going to be out the first half of the season. I thought I could snag him in the 7th. Couldn't do it. So, I mean, I think everyone was in on him. Hopefully he can recover and come back next year as strong and healthy as ever. I'd rather him play next year just as a fan, have him play next year 100% healthy than play this year still banged up and then get a diminished Michael Thomas out there.
It sucks to see him out. Obviously, like you said, he's such a talented player. It also sucks because I was wrong, but more so because he's a talented player.
Right.
So we do hope that he gets back healthy, obviously, and can return to the fantasy football and regular football stud that he was.
Right.
My question is, one, do any of the current wide receivers step up? I think that would be the first thing that we have to answer.
I think Callaway has to step up. I think he has to. Just there is no other option now besides Camara and him. I mean, honestly, I know you want Taysom Hill to start as quarterback, but I think now with the Michael Thomas news, I think it makes much more sense for them to utilize him as the Swiss Army knife that he is, and just like plug and play at running back, plug and play at wide receiver, plug and play at quarterback, and just utilize him that way. But I think Callaway, as far as the set wide receivers go, he is the guy who has to step up. Granted, that's going to be hard to do, but I mean, I think, first year in the league, different quarterbacks coming in. Thought you're going to get one of, if not the greatest wide receiver right now back, and he's not going to come back this year. But I think it's a Callaway year now. I think it has to be. I think they just focus on developing him.
Yeah, I don't know that any of the receivers they have I would feel great about to step up. We saw Traquan Smith make a little bit of a return. I think they're going to just try to spread the ball around and really rely on these backs and a lot of running the football with the defense that they have, try to drain the clock, ball control kind of stuff to win games in like a gritty fashion. I think that they're going to go Taysom at quarterback in part because of that. I do think that the argument you pose is like a really good argument for why they won't.
Right.
And they very well may choose not to. I guess from my side of things, it's just like, I'm not sure they're paying him a ton of money. Like, would they pay him that much money to just be utilized like that? I'm not sure. I think it's very, very well could be an option. And I don't know. What were you going to say? Sorry.
I mean, they're 5-2 right now. Obviously, Bucks are ahead of them. But, like, they have a good chance at making the playoffs. I think, like, the best way to do that is to use Taysom Hill as an everything sort of guy. Like, you paid him money, like, let him – because if he goes back there, he can throw the ball, but he can't, like – or
do
he
all
doesn't,
the other things.
Right. Then he can't go out and block or catch passes for you. And he also has a tendency to just tuck the ball and run, which is good. But, like, on a 3rd and 8, it's like things break down. Trevor Siemian might sit in the pocket and, like, look and be like, oh, there's Callaway cutting across the middle. Let me hit him. Whereas Hill is like, I can run this. And then potentially being a couple yards short because he wants to scramble and go. I just think, like, it's better to use Hill as, like, the everything guy, which they're going to need now. They're going to need him everywhere to give Camara a break, to give the wide receivers some buff. I think they're just going to need him. And I love Taysom Hill as a player just because he can do everything on the football field for you.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I mean, I think it'll be an interesting decision, especially he has come back to practice a little bit, and they say he is progressing on the towards coming back. So we will see how they utilize these two guys. On the side of, well, another thing for the Saints, I guess we will talk about in the next game is they may be bringing in a wide receiver depending on how the situation in Cleveland shakes out. But we'll talk about that more after we finish with Atlanta. Obviously, more news. This news we got last week with Calvin Ridley taking a step away from the game. There's really no timetable for his return.
Correct.
We talked about a little bit of who we expect to step up. And this is, I guess, an interesting game because I talked about it being more on the running backs. And we both like Cordell Patterson. You were very early to the train on that.
Right.
So do we think that this could be a big Cordell Patterson game as Ridley's out and they need to get more players involved in the offense? Or are we worried about that Saints defense?
Saints defense is no joke. They're fourth right now in points to running backs this year, 6th to tight ends, but 29th to the wide receiver. So I think Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson are going to have – I think Cordell Patterson's going to have a good day, but definitely not a, number one running back on the week like he has before, I think it's going to be more – I think it's going to be a sharp game or a gauge day. One of those two I could see having a big day. Kyle Pitts is going to take a slump. He's projected for 13.6. I see him getting underneath double digits. I think Cordell Patterson could get around, where he's projected, but it's going to be a tough one. He's going to have to find the end zone for sure.
I just think the volume really steps up for him.
I think it does.
This is kind of like the opportunity to see how much they're willing to give him and how much they're willing to put on his plate, being a guy that only saw like 15 or less touches every week and now being probably the focal point of the offense, or the most consistent focal point of the offense, I would say, him and Kyle Pitts. So I'm interested to see how his usage is. And I think if anybody in this Falcons offense is to have a good game, I would say that it is Cordell Patterson. I'm more worried about them putting Lattimore on Pitts and locking him down. For sure.
I'm hoping, obviously, big Cordell Patterson fan, big believer in Cordell Patterson. Hoping he has a good day, but Saints defense is no joke. Just got to tamper expectations a little bit, but Cordell Patterson's extremely talented, and as you just said, he will probably be the focal point of this offense, so it should be a good day for him.
Yeah. Moving on to Cleveland at Cincinnati. Other big news tidbit, perhaps, is that OBJ has been basically just like sent home from practicing. He's shown up, and they just said, nah, like you can leave. There was a bunch of stuff that happened. I guess a lot of it was with Odell Beckham Sr. posting some video clips talking about how Odell is wide open. I think it was like a 20-minute long video, which is a great amount of effort to put into something like this. I don't know. I've produced some videos in my time, and not many of them are 20 minutes. So as a producer or someone who makes videos, I say it's pretty impressive, if anything. But I could see how Cleveland's like, yeah, we don't need you doing that to our quarterback. So Odell, they said they're going forward as if he is not part of the team. It is to be decided really what happens with him. Just a little explanation on the money side of things. They owe him basically all of his money for this year. So they are going to pay whether they cut him or waive him or whatever they decide to do. They are going to have to pay the remaining around $8 million that is left for him on the season. But after that, the next 2 years on his deal are not guaranteed. So they could easily cut him in the offseason. They probably, if they would keep him till the offseason, would cut him because it saves them $15 million in cap space. The question is, what do they do with him for the rest of the season, and what do fantasy managers do with him for the rest of the season?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of have an idea, and I have my personal thoughts on it, but I don't know from like a logistical standpoint what they do. Watching the games, I mean, I'll be honest, I watched the Browns and the Vikings games almost every week, if not every week, and then like switch in between the other games to see everything too. But really watching the Browns games, like they don't look at Odell. Like Baker Mayfield refuses to throw the football in that direction. And when he does, if the ball's not like perfect to Odell, he's not putting himself at risk to take a big hit or to get injured again. And I don't blame him. I mean,
he does currently have an injury as well.
Right. Like he still has the shoulder injury. And I said it on Tuesday. I think the Browns should trade him. I've been saying it for a while, just to people around me. But I said that they should trade Odell. You can get more for Odell than you do just by cutting him. And if you cut Odell, like he's going to have a great season somewhere else. But I can see him sitting on the bench the rest of the season, like just not playing.
Yeah, it's a weird situation, especially right after the trade deadline. It's like, yeah, you guys kind of had an opportunity to deal with this, chose not to. And
that could also be
really lingering. It's weird too, because I didn't think that it would be such a big issue. Like his dad was shitting on the team, or shitting on Baker, I guess. One of the two, probably both. And I just thought that was going to kind of be the end of it, because Odell, I don't think really did anything. You could argue that Odell was trying to tell his dad to like post that, but we don't know that.
I mean, that's all speculative. Like you'd have to see. Like that's just like. I mean, I'm not even going to say that. I could, as a parent, I feel like you just always want to see your child succeed, and to watch them. I mean, like playing high school or college sports, like your mom or your aunt or whatever, like they will talk like so much shit to your own team if they do something that like makes you look bad. I mean, it just is what it is. Like parents always defend parents. I mean, or parents always defend their child for good or bad.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal.
I don't think it is. I think there's like more behind the scenes things that we're not privileged to.
That could be very, very much it. I think it's just I don't see. I mean, it's hard to see them just holding him in spite, because it's just not good for anyone, especially a team that like wants to win and has a lot of had a lot of expectations coming into the season, and still does have a lot of expectations. To just pull a spite move seems a little just not in the best interest of winning and culture and your team. But the connection's obviously not there. We've seen that either. And I don't think it's Odell, like you said, I think he has like curled up a little bit sometimes when he's getting set up for big hits, but like there's a lot of quarterbacks that try not to set up their wide receivers for big hits. Exactly. I think Odell can still go up and get stuff, and he's open a lot. Like a lot of the time you see him, he is getting open. So I think he has maybe had a little case of the drops, or just getting afraid of getting hit with his shoulder injury and wearing the harness and everything. But Odell can still play, and it wouldn't shock me to see them either one put him on IR and then like he leaves after that, or him get waived, or something happen here. I don't know how soon, but something eventually happened to where he could be on a team like we just mentioned in the Saints, who reportedly were interested in trading for him at the deadline.
I don't think the Browns are Like, I don't think they're going to drop him, right now. They're, they're close to being. They're 4-4 in their division right now. Like, they have a chance to make it. I don't think they drop. I don't think they cut him and then have him just go sign with like the Ravens or someone like that. Like, because I mean, I'll be honest. I think Odell is a spiteful person, and I think the Browns are a spiteful organization. And I think like Odell would be like, "You don't want me? I'll go play for the Ravens, and I'll like be part of their team, and we'll keep you out of the playoffs for like 3 years," which I think would be hilarious and fun to watch. But I mean, I just like I don't think they drop him this year. I think they drag him along, like you said, probably IR him, and then next year they should just cut him or figure
They're
their.
definitely going to part ways at the end of this year. I think it's pretty certain. But moving along with that, obviously, one of the things that I think we should talk about, just as far as we'll talk about quickly, I did make a trade in our league for Odell.
Right.
I think depending on where you are and what you're giving up on your roster, I gave up Van Jefferson, so not too much. But if you're sitting at like 6-2, 7-1, and things are not looking good for Odell right now, if you just want to throw anybody at the end of your bench for Odell, obviously the risk and reward of it is very polarized, but it could be something that ends up helping you in the end of the year because it still is Odell.
Right.
And we know that the talent is there. Could help. And if not, don't give up anybody that you're not going to feel like. Don't give up anybody that you wouldn't just like drop.
Right.
Because Odell might just end up being dropped in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Going to keeping the topic on Cleveland, are there any wide receivers here? I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is one of them that like we expect to step up in Cleveland. Are you adding those guys as like a speculative add to your bench and hoping that they do something this week?
Right. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones, I mean, weeks 5 and 6 put up double digits for you. So I think he's the guy. If I'm adding someone, he's the guy I'm adding.
Cool. And the last thing I want to talk about here is the Bengals wide receivers. We saw them all contribute last week in what was a loss of the Jets.
Jets.
But is that sustainable? I think we know the answer.
I think it's going to have to be this week. Browns have they have a really good defense this year, but they're way tougher on the run than they are in the pass. So I think it's going to be a rough Joe Mixon game. So in turn, it's going to have to be a good wide receiver game for them. And I think they can all eat. I believe the Browns are still missing a couple pieces in their secondary. So I think Boyd and Higgins should be able to manifest some, nice yards and a couple extra catches and pop themselves into relevancy this week.
Yeah, I'm not as convinced just because I think the Cleveland defense is going to keep them off the field more than the Jets defense did. So I'm probably sitting Boyd if I have him. I probably don't love having Boyd on my team in general. But it's probably going to be obviously feel great about starting Jamar Chase, feel okay about T. Higgins. I'm not sure that I would have Boyd in my lineups. But if it comes down to like what we talked about earlier, Zach Pascal versus Tyler Boyd thing, give me Tyler Boyd, and I'll just close my eyes and hope for the best.
Exactly.
Going on to Denver at Dallas. Big story here. Noah Fant out with COVID. He could return if he has 2 negative tests, but it is probably unlikely. We also have CeeDee Lamb dealing with a ankle sprain that he suffered yesterday. I believe he was limited yesterday or limited today. And then Dak expected to be limited in practice. We will see if he comes back. Not really as big of a worry, seeing as how Cooper Rush played last week.
Right.
But first thing, we also saw Jerry Jeudy come back last week, and I don't know if we learned anything about the Denver wide receivers or not.
I mean, I think I'm pretty sure they all had the same. They had 4. And Jerry Jeudy went 4 for 4. I think everyone else went about the same. I'm not.
Yeah, it was pretty spread out.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton had 4 targets and Tim Patrick had 3 targets. Jerry Jeudy had 4. So
Javonte also had 4, Melvin Gordon 3, Fant 4, and then Albert O, who I will at least talk about more, will also had 3.
Right. I mean, they really just spread the ball around almost evenly. Honestly, it wasn't a great week for fantasy purposes. Look to learn something new, but I mean, I think going against Dallas, it's going to be a more pass-heavy game. Dallas lets you throw the ball on them, and they kind of stop your run. So I think Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton are in for good games, and I think this is the game that we start to see who's going to be the number. I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be the number 1, but I think that's going to be solidified this game.
I don't know. I honestly just don't know what happens. And if I had the choice, especially with receivers, I'd like to hold off and see what's going to happen. If you are starting Jerry Jeudy as your flex or something like that, I would feel fine with that. Or starting Cortland Sutton even in your flex, I would be fine with that. I just wouldn't necessarily trust them as the wide receiver 2s that we're probably expecting them to be until we see them throw the ball, which should be this week against the Dallas offense that is very exclusive or very has just been excellent even last week. I didn't realize they didn't score a ton of points, but they were still very prolific, and I think they are going to be very good again this week. The one person I do trust as a streaming option is Albert Okuigbanam. I think I got that almost right. There was just a hesitant pause that may have made it sound wrong, but I think if the pause wasn't there, it would have been exactly right. Albert Okuigbanam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna call him Big Al for now, but you keep
Alberto.
going. Yeah, Alberto. Okay, yeah, something like that. Something just cute and fun. I mean, maybe. I mean, we saw Noah Fant have a lot of success so far this year. Noah Fant, tight end 7 on the year. So obviously, Teddy is hitting the tight end. Big Al has a little bit of a knee injury right now. He's dealing with that, a little limiting. But if he plays, it could be a good game for him. I don't know if I'm willing to risk it. Yeah.
I think if you lost Noah Fant or just need a tight end or streaming tight ends, I think he is a fine option. I heard this yesterday on ESPN. They were talking about this, and they said really everybody outside of that top category, it's just preference. It's just who's going to score a touchdown at the end of the day. And do you believe that Alberto is going to score a touchdown? If you do, you put him in your lineup. If you don't, you keep him out and you start anybody else who you think has a better chance at a touchdown. I'll tell you, I am picking up Alberto and starting him over Jared Cook, Evan Ingram. Those are some people I passed up for him. Currently, Pat Fryermuth. We'll see if that remains the same. I think it will, just because Dallas is a lot more likely to have to score more and throw more than against the Bears. So I think Alberto, and he saw 3 targets last week, even with Fant there. I mean, I get that Fant was hurt,
Right.
or not hurt. He wasn't hurt. It was the COVID thing. So, so he saw 3 targets even with Fant out there. So and they don't have anybody else. Like Saubert is the next person on the depth chart, and he is a blocking tight end. So I feel good about him at least getting some targets and, like we said, hopefully ending up in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, he has a chance for sure. I don't know. I mean, it's always risky, but again, it's preference for tight ends if you don't have one of the big name guys.
Are you starting him over a Pat Fryermuth? Is it Muth or Muth?
Muth? I believe it's Muth.
Okay. I didn't hear you clearly enough to know whether it was Muth or Muth. You put emphasis on the U?
Fryer Muth.
Muth. Okay. It's just
Muth.
like a vermouth. Almost,
Yes.
even though that has an O.
Right. I don't know. Like, I'm not loving. I mean, it's Chicago, so like, honestly, it should be. I could see him falling into the end zone more than I can Big Al, just because I feel like Najee's going to be able to run it down to like the 5. Then, they might get stopped a couple of times. They're like, we're just throw it to the big, wide open tight end right here. We're just fall in the end zone. It's like he has an easier job. Well, maybe I'm going to go with Pat first.
Interesting. What about are there any other streaming tight ends that you would rather have than Alberto
Tyler
or Big
Conklin.
Al?
Tyler Conklin.
There you go.
Baltimore is dead last against the tight end so far. So before people are just like, oh, he's a Tyler Conklin guy, I am. But like, he's going against Baltimore. They're dead last in the league against tight ends so far. And I think if you're in close, Kirk Cousins is a very accurate passer, if not one of the most accurate passers right now. I think he can just hit him nice and easy.
I think I would side with you there. If Tyler Conklin is available, I would rather have him than Albert. Moving on, I don't think we have to talk about Dallas too much. It's just CeeDee Lamb play, this Gallup play, and I guess we can talk about that more as the injuries come in tomorrow. Probably just have the more updated news. We can recap that when we recap injuries. New England at Carolina. New England has been quietly very impressive over the last few weeks. We were starting to see that offense come together a bit, and the defense just coming up clutch. On the other side of things, Carolina obviously starting out hot and has slowed down a bit. The Carolina rush defense was one of the best in football to start off the season. It's fallen back a bit, still in the top half of the league, 13th in yards per game. I like the Pats to kind of control the tempo here and see Damien Harris, somebody who we both like to be a big part of that. I don't know if he necessarily has like the most efficient game of his career, but I think that he's going to have a lot of carries and a lot of touches and put up points just through that.
Yeah, he can. I think it's more Carolina's offense that's really struggling more than their defense. I think their defense is still one of the better ones in the league.
Agree.
It's just their offense is puttering. Obviously, if they get CMC back, it's a whole new ball game, and their defense is just going to be able to do what they do with no worries from the offense now. But yeah, I like Harris this week. It's not going to be an efficient game, but I could see him falling into the end zone and running it like 16 times for 40 yards and a touchdown. So, like
I could see him getting like 18 to like 24 carries and 80 yards and a touchdown.
He can. I mean, Damien Harris is a talented individual and blessed back there. He has the power to do it, and he can do it. It's, I just think they might try to split up a little bit. And, I mean,
I'm going to start referring to talented running backs as blessed backs.
they are blessed. I mean, hey, I wasn't born to be 6'3", 220, so
Fair enough.
they're blessed. They're blessed.
That makes one of us.
Yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned CMC coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Potential is there. He's been limited.
Right.
I think I'm pretty pacing myself. Obviously, we have gotten excited about CMC coming back in the past, and that has only led to disappointment. So I would just not get your hopes up too much. We also saw a quote earlier in the week from their head coach, Matt Rule, that if it's not this week, we're hoping next week, which isn't the most convincing thing you want to hear at the beginning of the week. Right. So we will see if CMC comes back. New England is the defense to try to contain him, but I don't think you're containing CMC. You're still starting him 100% if he plays.
Right. If he plays, you start CMC. He's just one of those guys you set and forget it. But, I mean, I don't blame the Carolina's coaching staff and organization for being a little bit lockjaw around this topic. You're going up against one of, if not the greatest coach of all time in Bill Belichick. And if you give Bill Belichick any piece of information, he's going to utilize that to the fullest extent possible and try to cripple you a little bit. So obviously if CMC's in, the whole game plan shifts from an offense and defensive standpoint. So I don't blame him. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, and I'm assuming he's going to play. He hasn't been since yesterday. He hasn't been added to the 53-man roster yet. So, I mean, obviously tomorrow we'll have more news. But if he plays, I love it. And I think the defense is back on to being how good they were before.
Another big thing from this game, a lot of things. Their quarterback situation. We don't really know. I don't think they know what Sam Darnold is going to be capable of come this weekend, or if he is going to be able to play. PJ Walker, this was a funny quote, said that he's going into it as if he is the starter. He's preparing for the game as if he is the starter, not preparing for it as if he is the backup.
That's good news. I feel like he should do that every week, though.
He should be prepared is what I'm getting out of that.
Right.
So if they lose, it will not be due to preparation. If you have, say you may not have many blessed backs, but you have blessed receivers, and you got somebody, look around here, like Cole Beasley, who's been playing well, and they play Jacksonville. Maybe a Jalen Waddle late in your draft on your bench, and you're saying, I could start them, or I could start DJ Moore. DJ Moore, very talented wide receiver, but we got PJ Walker out there. Might not have CMC. Don't really know how this offense is going to compete without all of those major pieces. Oh, and by the way, we play New England defense.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of tough. I think the sheer volume that will go his way, no matter what. Obviously, if CMC's in, the volume shifts down a little bit. If CMC's out, it shifts up a little bit. And if Sam Darnold's out, it shifts up even more. So, I think it's going to be a good game for him. Obviously, Patriots, they're a smart organization. They know how to play football. They know how to play defense. They probably have different defenses going into the week already, for every variable that we're already talking about. I'm going to start DJ Moore no matter what. I think he's earned it. I don't know. I can't think of a guy who I'd rather start over him if we're going to be talking about like wide receiver twos on the week. Like
So I want to read this question that I got. You have to choose 3 to start: Michael Carter, Darrell Henderson, Justin Jefferson, Pittman, and DJ Moore. I think we could both agree that Pittman's out of that conversation.
Pittman's out. Justin Jefferson's starting for me. Who is the two running?
Michael Carter, Darrell Henderson, and DJ Moore. Big 2.
Give me Henderson and give me Moore.
I went Carter, Henderson, and Justin Jefferson. I don't think I can blame you because, like you said, if CMC is out,
the sheer number of
volume, even if CMC is in, he's going to have to get volume, and it should. Like we said, he had played pretty well with CMC there. We also don't know the status of Robbie Anderson, so
I mean, Robbie looks like he's going to play. I mean,
okay.
I don't see anything wrong with him other than the fact that he isn't.
He just got rocked last weekend.
Right, like it's tough being a Robbie Anderson supporter right now, just watching the year he's having. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
DJ Moore, I would agree with you. I'm not feeling too scared unless you have some crazy options.
Right.
Moving on to Minnesota, your Vikings at Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
The first question I had is these 2 wide receivers have been we're coming off of a rough Justin Jefferson week. Really, the only time we've seen a rough Justin Jefferson week. I don't think you're worried about him.
The first time.
How do you compare these 2 wide receivers right now? We've seen Adam Thielen. He's currently up at wide receiver 12 on the year. And then Justin Jefferson down at 21. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a case to be made that these guys are a little bit more even than people are letting on?
They could be. It's I don't know. It's weird. They're both really talented wide receivers. They're both great to have on your team. Kirk is a okay quarterback too. I'll say he's my quarterback on my team, but I hate him. I run a better quarterback, but he's not a terrible one that you need to replace right away. He can get the ball to both these guys. They have Dalvin Cook to help alleviate the pressure. Defense have to worry about Dalvin net too. Yeah, I mean, both these guys are just Jefferson and Adam Thielen are both good football players to have on your team. You can make an argument that they both could finish as, at worst, mid wide receiver 2s. I think Adam Thielen is the guy I expect to finish there. I think Justin Jefferson's upside's insane. But, I mean, Adam Thielen is going to finish as a wide receiver 2 for sure, and Justin Jefferson's going to finish as a wide receiver 1 or 2 for sure.
I agree. I think the only thing I would say that puts Adam Thielen in that category of closing the gap on Justin Jefferson, because going into the season, we had Justin Jefferson. We had both of them were pretty highly ranked, both within the top 24 wide receivers. But Justin Jefferson was around probably 6 or 7, I want to say. I think the thing that makes Thielen go up is those touchdowns. He's going to score. I feel fairly confident he's going to score 10 touchdowns this year, where I don't know that Justin Jefferson does that. Just pace-wise right now. I know Thielen, I'm pretty sure, has 6 so far this year. Justin Jefferson has, I'm going to go out on a limb and just say less than that. He has 3.
Are you touchdowns?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so Adam Thielen has more touchdowns so far than JJ. JJ has 7 red zone looks. Adam Thielen has 8. So very close there. But team targets, Justin Jefferson barely beats out Adam Thielen. He has 4 more targets on the year. And I mean, that was with a terrible week last week from Justin Jefferson. So, I mean, they're very close. They're going to finish very close. Justin Jefferson gets a couple more balls, which could help you in PPR. Adam Thielen has 1 more red zone look, but obviously 8 and 7 are both nice numbers to have on the season. About 1 a week, so that's not terrible, especially when you have such a dominant back in Dalvin Cook on your team. It could be a lot worse for both these guys. I'm not worried about either of them. Love having both of them if you have them. I'm just higher on Justin Jefferson just because I think the touchdowns are going to come.
I think I'm also higher on Justin Jefferson just because he is the lead guy there now. I do think Thielen has a higher touchdown upside just because we've seen it. Even last year we saw it where he was the bigger touchdown scorer. I believe Thielen had 12, I want to say. I am speaking just like not off of anything that I see right now. I want to say he had double digits. I know that. And I know Justin Jefferson had 7. I'm like almost certain of that.
I'll believe you. I'll take your word for it.
But I think the touchdowns with Thielen, we talked about this a little bit before, but everyone's like, oh, it's touchdowns, they'll regress. And then they just don't for him. So I think this might have been just more of an Adam Thielen appreciation message. And I mean, would you rather have Robert Woods or Adam Thielen?
Adam Thielen. I believe
Would you rather have Amari Cooper or Adam Thielen?
Adam Thielen.
Yeah, and I agree with you in both of those things. Would you rather have DeAndre Hopkins or Adam Thielen?
Oh,
that's a crazy question. It's crazy that we're asking that, I think, is the premise.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough.
But it's crazy that's even a question.
Yeah,
so
like the
respect on Adam Thielen's name, I think, has to be.
I mean, you have to bring Adam Thielen's respect up.
And that might be a good buy low person because of that.
Right. I mean, it could be.
Or maybe not buy low because he's been awesome, but like a good value where you could trade. I think some of these guys that won't be as good rest of season for Adam Thielen, or you could trade Robert Woods in like a really small piece for Adam Thielen.
Yeah. If I have Adam Thielen, I think he has a good shot to finish around a lot of these guys. I think DeAndre Hopkins finishes above him, but like it's closer than it would have been if you asked me like a year ago or even the start of this year. If you're like, give me DeAndre Hopkins for Adam Thielen, I'd be like, nah, you're crazy. But like now it's like, you want to do that offer? Like you want to send that trade? It's amazing how much changes in a couple of weeks.
J.D. McKissick, Kareem Hunt, Melvin Gordon, all guys that are currently ranked ahead of Dalvin Cook in fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously had a tough game last week. Didn't see any. He might have got a couple targets, but he did not catch any balls last week. 18 for 78 on the ground, only 7.8 fantasy points. Are we worried at all about Dalvin Cook?
Nope.
That's a good enough answer for both of us. Yeah, don't worry about Dalvin. I think if you're in a situation where you can buy low on Dalvin, if that's even a thing, like if you could trade, it might be tougher because I think he had a bad week last week, but DeAndre Swift for Dalvin Cook, yeah, go do that immediately. Yeah. If you could trade, I think, an Aaron Jones for Dalvin Cook, do that immediately. And because of a good point that I don't want to say a good point because it was a point that I made, just a point in general. He has a handcuff that you probably don't have to give up that much to get, maybe more than your average handcuff, but he has a handcuff that could also put up 25 if anything were to happen to him, which I think makes him more valuable than guys who don't have that.
Right.
Like, I think a DeAndre Swift doesn't have that. Aaron Jones might have a back there in A.J. Dillon, but I don't think it's the same as Dalvin Cook still.
No. I got – so when thinking back to when I did the trade for Darrell Williams over there and Damien Williams for Myles Gaskins and Jamal Williams. Damien Williams came off of a great week. Number one back, he was supposed to be the handcuff to the late, great Dave Montgomery. He's not dead, just was injured.
He is practicing, though.
He is practicing, so obviously, good news. But Herbert came onto the scene and took the spot from him. I've seen Damien Williams just dropped in a bunch of leagues that he was being fought over like a week or two earlier. So just, reiterating the handcuff conversation. Some handcuffs are actual handcuffs, and we thought Williams was going to be one, or a lot of people did. And I kind of was losing my faith in it and got rid of him. And I think I won the trade now.
Yeah, it just seems like after the trade, regardless of what it looks like at the time, you always win.
It does. I mean, I'm just really lucky. Everyone just doesn't understand like how much say I actually have over the actual NFL. So
you own all of the teams.
Every single team. It's actually insane. I'm trying to make my way into Canada and get some of those teams, but it's not.
I think that might be like infringing on a monopoly of some sort. That might be where you have to draw the line. It's just those international business relations.
I mean, yeah, they speak French, and I just don't understand. It's just so like sweet and cute of a language. I just get lost, and I feel like I'm going to get ripped off. So,
are you saying that you're not a sweet and cute guy?
I like the French.
Okay, that's fair.
I like the French.
This is the Minnesota defense. I wouldn't say it's like one that is the best. I wouldn't say that they're one that's the worst, but I would say they're closer to that than the best. So Rashad Bateman and these receivers, I like. I wrote down Rashad Bateman breakout. I don't know if it's a breakout, but I think it's a game where people who haven't picked him up yet on waivers are like, okay, we have to pick him up. Like I could see us talking about him next week as a top waiver claim.
I just have such a hard time like encouraging more than 2 pass catchers from this Baltimore team. It's going to be Brown and Andrews for me. Like I get it. Like I might be a little bit tougher on Lamar than other people are. But I just state my expectations, and it seems harsh. It is what it is. I'm sorry for it. But, I mean, Minnesota is kind of soft against the pass this year in terms of fantasy points allowed. So I don't, blame you for wanting Bateman. But I think Lamar, we have a decent D front up there. I think we get pressure, and Lamar.
You did just lose Daniel Hunter, though, didn't you?
I think we did. I don't know, but we still have a good defense. I like our defense. It's not a terrible defense, especially against the run. It's good defense. I just could see Lamar getting pressured a little bit and then just scrambling out and running it on us, which I think he's going to do. I think he's going to run 10 times on us this game. But I think that just takes away from Bateman's potential. Whereas if he was playing a team, if he was playing a team that was just mediocre against, if he was playing, I don't even know, a team I want to say, throw him under the bus. But, if he was playing,
the Jets.
Yeah, I'll say the Jets just because it's a fun team to pick on. But Jets are 32nd in the league against the running back, which kind of translates to Lamar,
watch it.
Well, no, I'm trying to rephrase it. A team that's really good against a run generally has a lot of defensive pressures on quarterback, a lot of rushed passes, and a lot of sacks, just how it happens. So Lamar would have less time to throw against a good pass or a good rushing defense versus a good pass defense who have more time to sit in the pocket and actually throw. That's why I'm just not as high on Bateman, just because I think Minnesota's defense is a little bit more they make the quarterback act a little bit quicker, which, I mean, Lamar's going to do fine. He's just going to take off and run like he always does. But Bateman loses his upside in my mind.
I appreciate you rephrasing that and not making me have to combat that and get animated and loud. Again,
you like to be loud.
I don't want to say like where we are because I don't want the homeowners to be like very upset, and it would just bring more attention to myself if I were to get loud, and I don't really want people to know that I'm here.
I mean, I just already tweeted out your location.
I don't think you know where I am.
I think
if you did tweet out a location that isn't where I am, I gladly appreciate that for throwing the scent off. Going to the last game we are going to talk about today, the Buffalo Bills going to Jacksonville.
Oh, wow.
Like the Buffalo Bills just play like a lot of crappy teams.
Where did I not do that game?
Hold on. No, Cody.
Wait, I have a game that we didn't do. I guess that's what I did. Oh, no, I found it. Oh, jeez. There it is.
Okay, thank God.
I spelled Jags, but with a G, not Jacksonville. So that's what I was supposed to do.
Wait, so you said Gags.
Yeah, I spelled it wrong.
Interesting.
I was so lost. I said, where is this team? And then,
Well, the Jags have been known to choke a little bit. Speaking of the Jags, would you start any of the Jacksonville wide receivers against the Bills? I don't want to say that about the Jags. I don't want to be hurtful to them.
No, I mean, I'm not starting.
They had a tough loss last week, but before that, Urban Meyer able to grind out his first win. Finally got over the hump.
Good job, Urban.
I mean, it's what we have all been waiting for. It was just, it was good to see him, like we said, just like grind out that first win.
Right.
So, Jags should have to pass in this game. Obviously, are there any wide receivers that you're looking to start?
No. I'm not starting Marvin Jones, and I'm not starting Shenault. I'm not starting Agnew. If Robinson plays, I might, depending on who I have, I might just start a handcuff.
Would you start Carlos Hyde if Robinson was out? Buffalo defense has been very good against him.
Buffalo defense is literally number 1 against the run and number 2 against the pass of wide receivers. Number 8 to the tight end. So it's not like I hate the Jags and why I'm saying this. I'm just saying Buffalo is a great defense. I'm not starting Carlos Hyde either because he's a little banged up too. So I'm kind of staying away from all those guys. I like Dan the Man a little bit. I said he was my waiver wire pickup for tight end, one of them. I think if they get into a scoring position, especially if Robinson's out, I think Dan Arnold is as good of a target down there as any, and I think he can fall into the end zone. But the rest of these guys, I think, are just in for a rougher game. Someone's going to prove me wrong. I hope they do, just for their sake. But I'm less optimistic about the running back and wide receiver situation in Jacksonville this week.
Yeah, it's hard to trust anybody. I would trust Marvin Jones again if you're like in a tough spot. Like if you said, I think like again, I'm going back to like a Zach Pascal situation. I would rather start Marvin Jones over Zach Pascal.
It's close. It's not as like set it and forget it, I guess, for me. But I mean, again, it's all about preference for what you want on your team.
At that point, yeah.
Right.
It has to be, right?
Yeah. Both those guys, obviously, they're playing in the NFL. They're both 1% of the athletes on the world as far as wide receivers go. But Buffalo's defense scares me so much more than the Jets. So that's why it's less of a it's more in favor of Pascal in my mind than it is one of those guys. But again, someone can prove me wrong this week. They're going to have to if they want to win, but could be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we talked about, I do think the Bills are a very good defense.
Right.
But we've also seen them a lot of their offensive games, or a lot of their strong defensive games have come against, like, they beat the Dolphins They shut out the Dolphins the first time. They shut out the Texans the first time. They again played the Dolphins. They played the Washington football team. They did play Titans, who they gave up 34 points to. The Chiefs, who only scored 20. So I guess you could say that one. I don't think they're as dominant against the pass. Just like looking and watching the games, I think that when there is a capable passer, they can give up yards, especially in a game where I expect them to be. We could argue first that Trevor Lawrence is a capable passer. I think that you would take a different side of that argument, especially with comparison to teams that I named. But I just want to finish this first.
Right. I'll let you.
I think the Bills are going to be up a lot in this game.
Right.
So much like the Washington game, I think that there just might be some off coverage and like late opportunities for guys to get points, not necessarily because they're playing great, but because they're just going to be playing so far off and just trying to not give up anything over the top that a guy might have like 6 catches for 70 yards. And honestly, somebody we talked about on waivers, who was probably like the best candidate for underneath passing usage, would be Jamal Agnew.
He is, but again, I'm not as excited about it. I mean, he has a chance to catch 6 or 7 balls this game. I don't know. Just like an interesting thing I just saw. Dak Prescott, what are your thoughts on this man? First, accurate passer, inaccurate passer.
I would say
this year, accurate, inaccurate through the 6 games he's played.
I mean, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I would say Dak is an accurate passer.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence has 3 more completions on 60 more attempts, 100 less yards, 8 less touchdowns, but 5 more interceptions. So like my faith in Trevor is like a little bit smaller than
Dak Prescott. I would agree.
Then I meant just than yours, like in Trevor.
I just think that
I think Buffalo's defense is like, give credit to them. They're playing great this year. They're shutting out bad teams and they're winning against good teams. So I think they're doing their job this year. They're doing good. Trevor is a rookie. He's making rookie mistakes. He needs time to grow, but like Buffalo is not the team that's going to let you Buffalo is not the team that is like going to be Trevor's easiest competition so far. And I think that reason is why I'm even more hesitant just of like Trevor has a tendency to throw the ball away a little bit. I just kind of like, I'd rather have Carson Wentz's secondary guy over someone in Jacksonville playing the Bills.
I think there's a chance that Trevor Lawrence, I agree, like could turn the ball over multiple times in this game, but I think there's also a chance that he could throw for 300 yards, which I'm not sure that I feel as confidently with as Carson Wentz.
Yep.
And that's the reason that I would lean towards one of these guys. But I do understand where you're coming from as far as that's concerned. We got to move on to the Buffalo side of things, though.
Buffalo.
Obviously, Emmanuel Sanders was having a hot start to the year, abruptly had a goose egg of a game, 0 points last week. I believe he had 4 targets.
4 targets.
It was really the Cole Beasley show.
Yeah, congratulations, Cole Beasley, to the 1 out of every 3 people who started him.
You would love to see a Cole Beasley show. He's a very interesting guy. But
yes, indeed.
As far as this week goes for fantasy, like Emmanuel Sanders, I think he was a top 24 wide receiver, so a lot of people, my guess would be, we're starting him.
Right.
Can you trust him? And I guess, can you trust him and can you trust Cole Beasley, who are kind of on two opposite sides of the spectrum right now?
So, all right. I am not starting Emmanuel Sanders this week in any of my leagues. He kind of hurt me last week, so I know he's in for a good game this week, but just out of just out of pain that
Just
he caused
spite,
me.
yeah.
No, it's not spite. Like, I like him as a
Do
player.
you also, like the Cleveland Browns, run a spiteful organization?
I mean, I think they do. I don't run a spiteful organization. It's just he hurt me. So now I need to distance my. You never stay in an abusive relationship. And when
This
he
got very intense.
I mean, when he hurts you like this, just 3 weeks that you start him, just 9, 6, you sit him when he starts performing well. He said, "Hey, you're coming off a bye. You're playing Miami. We'll give you this opportunity," and he gives you a goose egg against your co-host. Like, you gotta get rid of him. I see whose team he's on. He's not on mine.
Cody, I want you to just know, if there's ever anything going wrong at home, you always have someone to talk to.
Thank you. I don't know who that person is, but
it could be the second take extra.
I think it probably is. I feel like if I called him up, he'd answer. Yeah, I'm also not super high on Cole Beasley, which is weird. Like, I think both these guys are going to have decent weeks, but Cole Beasley has 8 red zone targets on the year, 1 touchdown. 5 of those targets came in week 3, and he didn't snag one of them for a touchdown. I think Cole Beasley's fantasy value comes underneath for sure, just short yardage sort of guy. But to see him basically goose egg, I mean, 1 for 8 in the red zone, it's a little discouraging. He had a monster last 2 weeks, so I think he could be poised for another good week.
He really has only had 2 bad weeks. Houston, he was 2 for 16, 3.6. And then Kansas City, these are weeks 4 and 5.
Right.
He had 1 catch for 5 yards for 1.5.
Right.
He had 1 week of 7.6, and then every other week has been 14 plus.
Right. He's incredibly he's either gonna get you he's either gonna get you 15 plus or he's gonna get you below 5. It just kind of seems.
There's just so many guys here.
Right, and like I said, I like Cole Beasley. He's a riskier start, but I mean, last week against Miami, he put up 20-something points. So obviously Jacksonville is kind of similar to Miami, both in Florida, both near water.
Is Jacksonville near water?
I don't know, maybe.
I'm sure there's a swamp somewhere.
There's got to be. I mean, there's alligators all around. What is a jaguar doing in Jacksonville anyway? That's the real question.
Football. That's it.
I guess so. That's the questions we need to be asking. Why has no one asked us? Is he being fed? Does he have a home?
I would hope the stadium provides housing for the mascot as well as. Well, the mascot was jumping around in London, so who knows if ever made it back. Hopefully, the Jaguar is safe.
I hope so too. But there's just a lot of mouths to feed over there. Like I said, I mean, Buffalo just has They have a lot of weapons.
The Jaguar.
They have a Jaguar just in reserve, just in case the game.
Well, you want to feed the You don't want to let the Jaguar starve.
Right, you gotta feed the Jag.
So they not only have to feed. Well, I guess that would be the Jaguars' job, not as much of the Buffalo Bills' job. But Bills might have a Buffalo, or the Buffalo might have Bill. I don't know. Who knows?
I think the Buffalo's name is Bill. I think that's what it's like.
But is there just a guy? Is it just a Bill?
I think it's it might be a bill he owes. He might actually owe the Jaguar for dinner one night. Maybe they went out to eat. Got a couple drinks.
I think that really connects everything. Because you got to feed the Jaguar. Okay.
Exactly.
Is it Jaguar or is it Jaguar?
I think it's just not even that. I think it's this, J. Aguilera.
Okay.
Aguilera.
Yeah. That's one pronunciation.
Yeah.
I think that's it for us for today. Obviously, getting 2 questions right now.
We will get into all your questions.
If the Jets lose, you do $10 parlay for Cody, or wear the costume again for. I would gladly do a fashion week next week if the Colts lost.
I think you have to do it tomorrow for Friday, I think is what he's saying.
Well, tomorrow I'm hitting slopes, so I don't even know. Especially if the Colts lose, there may be a little bit of a rush to get out of here. So we will see how that goes. Is Cody breaking? Oh, no, he's fine.
Okay, I'm good. Just chilling, relaxing.
Second Take Extra says, I think Traquan Smith will step up coming off IR. It'll be interesting to see how that situation plays out, especially with the added wrinkle of Odell Beckham Jr. maybe being available. I do think that if Odell leaves, that is where he goes. But there are, like I was looking at it earlier, a ton of teams that could be in search of Odell, whether that's teams that we mentioned on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I know I think I said Green Bay or New England.
Right. You said Green Bay. I said, I forgot. Who did I say? I said some team. I forgot who. I'm sorry.
But it was not Cleveland. Is the point.
No. I don't know if he'd go to. I don't know if he'll go to the Saints though. I really don't.
Interesting.
I feel like he, had his. I think he likes being the number one guy, and so like thinking about it, like Jarvis kind of stole his shine, and he was like friends with Jarvis, So I don't know.
I mean, he would only probably sign through the rest of the year too, so it could just be the rest of the year thing. Second Take Extra does not have any faith in the Jets. See, that's what I don't. You guys like Jets. I am a pretty notable like non-Jets guy, and it's not like the team. The team's very funny, but fans of the Jets, and this is going to get me so much hate. You guys will be like, let's go. We won. We're back. Like Mike White is the guy. And then it's like we have no faith in our team. It's only been like 3 days. What's going on?
No faith.
They will stop the 4-yard passes, which Mike White was doing. I hope the Colts stop it, to be honest.
I hope it's just straight like 35-yard bombs.
You guys swap places. We talked about this a little bit. I am in a remote location. Toady, this one's for you.
Am I a milk drinker? Yeah, I'll have some ice cream every now and again. Nice glass of milk.
You have ice cream and milk, so you're just a double dairy guy.
Yeah, I just had a cheese sandwich earlier, like cheese pizza. Any way you get that dairy.
I think it's more the double intake of it that is the questionable thing. That I just feel like that might be harsh on your stomach.
Nah.
You go ice cream. I feel like you would go like cheese pizza and then ice cream and milk, just all in one sitting.
Yeah.
Which is the problematic part. I think if you separate them out a little bit.
No. If you separate it, that's when the problems start to arise.
Pick one. DJ Moore, I presume. Bobby Trees and Pittman. I'm probably going DJ Moore, even though I made an argument for why you shouldn't play him.
I'm going DJ Moore.
It's just the upside there is way higher than.
He can get 12 targets this game.
Yeah, I think the target volume is definitely something to sway it. I mean, Robert Woods against the Titans could be an interesting play as well, but I don't think you can go too wrong there. I would go DJ Moore just because of the upside, especially if Sam Darnold plays. I think it's no question.
Right.
If he doesn't, I'd say it's like a coin toss between Bobby Trees and DJ Moore.
Love you.
Asking for a friend. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
Would you trade Camara for Cook? If you could get Madison, I think I would.
Yeah, I think you need Madison if you have Cook. I had Dalvin Cook, traded away Dalvin Cook for Justin Jefferson. And some piece. But I kept Madison just because if anything happens to Cook, I have a number one back, like I have RB1 on the rest of the year if anything ever happens to Cook. So you
Yeah,
need to.
I wouldn't worry
I-
about I don't think I would do Camara for Cook if you don't get the backup. I don't think it's that big of a move where you have to do it. I think it's a pretty lateral move. And if you get Madison, then it's better. Would you agree? Disagree? They are worried about Taysom becoming the starter.
Yeah, if Taysom's in, then if Taysom's the starter, Camara drops. So, I mean, I think you kind of have to do it today or tomorrow, like before Taysom comes in, and then you see a 7-point Camara week against an opponent that they should just cream over. So, I mean, I think Kamara's very talented, and I think Cook's very talented. It's just that you've seen the sample size of Taysom Hill taking away from some of Kamara's gimme yards that make him as popular as he is.
Well, we looked at the numbers last time too, didn't we?
Yeah, there was, I think he would average like 11 or something like that. He had 120, he had like 11, then he had 2 double-digit weeks in full point.
I forget. I can load that up while we're taking other stuff. Urban Meyer able to grind out his first win. Love to hear it. I think we all do.
Yeah,
Urban obviously, and I think the one thing that I like about Urban is that he said this. People were like, "Oh, why did you take out James Robinson on a 4th and 1?" And he said, "Well, I don't like to micromanage who plays." And Urban just not a big micromanage guy. I think that's the difference between good coaches and great coaches. The great coaches will just kind of let their guys go out there and just do whatever.
Right.
Where I think some of the coaches that want to be good think they have to control everything. And Urban just kind of says no, hey, you guys, you take this plane home. I'll sacrifice. I'll give you guys just some time to work together as a team, talk. I'm going to stay in Ohio for the weekend, visit the grandkids, and give you guys just time to bond as a team without being the old dad peeking in, knocking on the door every minute saying, "You kids all right?" Something like that. Just letting the boys hang out. So that's also a good thing about Urban. And also great thing about Urban is that when they get in close, he obviously you love to get in close. He loves to get in close. He's not afraid to punch it in. I think it's one of the big things for Urban Meyer. Big Urban Meyer show. Do I win this? I got Kirk Cousins, Alvin Kamara, Melvin Gordon, Diggs, Amari Cooper, Rashad Bateman, Pitts, Herbert, Pittsburgh defense, and Dan Carlson. I am playing Josh Allen, Edmonds, Patterson, Claypool, Beasley, Devontae Parker, I presume, Mark Andrews, Zeke, Chicago Bears defense, and Harrison Butker. Well, I'd rather have Dan Carlson than Harrison Butker. So from that side of things, you're looking good.
I think you do. I mean, I'd look to move Bateman a little bit if I was you, just personally. Josh Allen's going to be tough for you. Edmonds could have a good week, especially just with all the bang-ups and injuries over in Arizona right now. Patterson, I hope, has a great week. He's on the team. Need him too. Claypool, I think, has been going down. Not a big Chase Claypool guy. Just watching him play and just seeing where he is right now. He's like a wide receiver 4 in the rankings or whatever. Cole Beasley could be tough, but not he's
I
either.
think you have the wide receiver advantage for sure.
Yeah, you have Alvin Kamara though. For this week's matchup, I think Alvin Kamara is a good one. Yeah. I mean, barring Taysom Hill starting.
I also think it could be a big Diggs game.
Yeah, so, I hope so.
And then Herbert, presuming that David Montgomery doesn't play, which I'm guessing here, but my guess, he just started practicing today. I think that they'll probably wait. We'll see. Yeah. Good luck, though. Yeah. Do I win? Another one. Great words of great man there, DJ
Khaled.
College. Another one. Do I win? I got Stafford, Aaron Jones, J-Rob, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. I would hope so.
If you don't win.
Yeah, if you don't win this one, I don't think we even have to read the rest of it out.
Yeah, you won that one. You won.
Terribly wrong. Traquan. Where's Traquan?
He said Smith earlier on.
Okay. Start Boston Scott or Melvin Gordon.
Let's go Boston.
I'm gonna go Melvin Gordon. I'm sorry for not helping. Just they play Dallas.
They do.
And I think that
Dallas is tough against. Dallas is tougher against the run, though.
This is about the Jets again. I know it's sad, but it's fake hype. Only time we get wins. Not used to winning. That makes me have a little bit more sympathy. Now I feel bad. I kind of feel bad, but I just feel like I'm surrounded by so many Jets fans.
Right.
I can't help but just like have. I can't help but just have feelings that get risen up when Jets fans go off.
I love watching Jets fans get excited. I love anyone getting excited.
I mean, it's fun. Like, that's the thing about fandom. I think, like, some people just take it too seriously. Like, I don't actually hate anybody who's a fan of, like, that's kind of crazy. But I can, like, pretend to, like, hate them or, like, have, like, a playful hate. Because that's what we're just, I mean, at the end of the day, don't get in an actual fight over your team playing another team. Unless you want to.
I mean, unless you got
hands. Who am I to stop you? But don't do it with me because I'm not built for that.
You're not built different?
I may be built different, but not built for that.
Not built for it tough.
Is a hot dog is not a sandwich.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Okay.
What do you mean?
How is a hot dog a sandwich?
All right, you go to Subway. It's like this, right?
The Subway, notoriously a sandwich shop, right?
Right.
Do they sell hot dogs?
But hold on, let me explain. The sandwich is like this. Like it's one sandwich. Who is calling you? It's like
this laptop is done.
Right. So it's like this. Then they cut it, and it goes like this. And then if you look at a hot dog bun sideways, it starts like this and goes like that. You put the hot dog in there, put the ketchup, the mustard, put some onions in there. It's a sandwich. It's a sandwich all day.
It's not okay. First thing is, what sandwich shop do you go to that has hot dogs?
Sonic.
No, Sonic is not a sandwich shop. First off, and foremost,
I just got a hot shop. I just got a hot dog from Sonic.
You can get a hot dog from there, but can you even get a sandwich?
It might have been the best hot dog I've ever had. Like
that's probably
like props to Sonic, but they have this pretzel bun with this cheese and this onion,
bacon and onions.
Oh my god, dude! Might have been the best hot dog I've ever had in my entire life.
I think
I'm gonna go back again.
Best hot dog I've ever had is, and it's probably not the best tasting hot dog I've ever had, but the experience of it is a chili cheese hot dog at the track in Saratoga. They don't have them, I don't think, anymore. I think they got rid of them. They were kind of nasty, but just the experience of having like a chili cheese dog over like on a freaking hot day is just something that you or your stomach will never forget, but always regret. Hot dog isn't a sandwich though.
It is a sandwich.
Pretty much so. Okay. Second thing. I can go to my second point. Hot dog. What way is the bun?
What do you mean?
The bun is split, but the split faces the sky.
So now it's based off your rotation? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does. Because that makes it a hot dog. I think a hot dog is closer to a taco than it is to a sandwich.
I mean, hey, if you want to call it a hot dog a taco.
I just kind of came up with that point, but I think that's very true.
I mean, I'm not going to, like, tell you you're wrong, but because, like, everyone else will. But, like, hot dog's a sandwich, dude.
What is the best bet for the NFL games this week? Like the Chiefs 7.5. I also think I do enjoy that, but I'm going to look through. Cody, do you have any we know that you're a big parlay guy. You have any
I
off the top
love
of your head?
I love my parlays. Actually, they're just so fun for me. Um, I mean, Falcons Saints. Take the Saints. Just all day on the Saints. Bills Jags. Take the Bills. Whatever that. Plus
But
or
you
minus.
also take just like 10 money lines. Are you talking the spread?
Both. I do spreads sometimes too. That's what kind of gets me in trouble. Is I start doing spreads. I'll take Bills or Saints. I'll take whatever the spread is for both of them. I don't know what it
Saints
is.
is 6.5.
It's 6.5. Saints.
Bills is 14.5.
Oh,
I like New England. It's New England minus 3.5. I might tease that down, try to get that down to 2.5. But I think New England over Carolina is probably going to be the last time. I don't know if it was the last time, but there was a time that Sam Darnold played New England and he saw literal ghosts. So I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that New England can hopefully pull out that game. DJ Moore or Waddle? We talked about this a little bit. I think just the ceiling with DJ Moore is too tempting to pass up.
I like DJ Moore a lot this week. Way over Waddle.
Yeah. I got Hyde and Dillon because I got Aaron Jones.
Smart.
Or J-Rob. I agree. I'm a big handcuff guy. Like I have a couple weeks where half of my bench is handcuffs. It's just, especially depending on the situation you're in and what running backs you have. I think it's just very safe. Right. AB, Russ, Galladay, Monty Hurt. Hey, just a minor setback for a major comeback.
Amen.
Kim Kardashian story. Hot dogs aren't a sandwich. Agree. Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Oh, if you're going straight hamburger, then I have to go hot dog. But if you're going a cheeseburger trumps a hot dog.
But what about cheeseburger versus cheese dog?
Cheeseburger over cheese dog. But if you're going pretzel bun hot dog with onions, cheese, and bacon on top, that trumps everything. So,
but what if you go pretzel, bacon, onion on the burger?
If it's a double patty, it takes the cake. But if it's a single patty, it don't. So
what about double dog?
No.
I keep my double dogging for private moments for the most part. Philly cheesesteak over hot dogs. I would agree with that. Philly cheesesteak, it's hard to find a good Philly cheesesteak, though.
Go to Philadelphia. They got good Philly cheesesteaks in Philadelphia.
If anybody wants to invite us to Philadelphia, as you could tell by here, me being here without, like some would call it trespassing, I could use a place to stay. Do you guys put pineapple on your pizza? We talked about this, actually.
No.
It was in our pizza topic draft.
Don't do it, man. It's disgusting. Don't do it.
Pineapple on your pizza is okay. You just can't. You can't just have pineapple and ham. Like you have to balance out the taste. Maybe it's just me with my sophisticated palate, but you can't have that's an overload of sweetness. It's like putting candy on cake. Might just be too much. Maybe you need a little bit of balance. Maybe like I like to go pepperoni pineapple so you get a little bit of that spice, a little bit of that sweet, balances out. Would you trade Jarvis and AP for Higgins? I would not.
I wouldn't. Higgins isn't like a stud, and I think Jarvis, especially if Odell gets dropped, Jarvis has bounced up a little bit, and Adrian Pearson has potential to be. We don't know how the Tennessee backfield is going to unfold itself, so we don't know.
We got more food questions. Second Take Extra loves these food questions. Salad or soup? I'm a big anti-soup guy.
I don't like soup either, so don't take me to a soup place.
At least that's like something that we have in common. Is there's big anti-soup. We should start like a coalition, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know why we even have soup.
Second Take Extra loves devil dogs. Are those like
the
prepackaged things?
Devil dogs? Aren't those the I think. Oh wait, no, that's something else. That's deviled eggs. Never mind. I'm dumb. I'm thinking of deviled eggs this whole time.
That's different.
And,
Deviled eggs or hot dogs?
Devil dogs are those chocolate things with the white stuff in the middle. Those are delicious. Absolutely. Can't go wrong with a good devil dog.
No. All right, I think that's it for us, unless you have anything else to say, Cody.
I mean, hey, fly, Eagles, fly in tonight's game.
Sushi, quick, yes or no? Give me like a nice like shrimp California roll, and I might not pass it up. But outside of that, I like it gets really fancy.
Have you ever had fish eyes before?
No.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went fishing here one time, and brought the fishes back to my buddy's house, and we prepared them for his entire family. And we had him out. And I said, "Hey, you won't eat this," and he said, "You won't eat this." So I said, "I'll have it." So I ate 2 eyes.
Are they okay? I think Second Take Extra, I imagine, is talking about. Oh, not talking about fish eyes. Was talking about devil dogs.
Yeah.
Put them in the freezer.
Yeah.
Drake's devil dogs or corn dogs?
Corn dogs, baby. Give me the old dog. Bro.
Am I missing something? Who's Drake?
Drake? What do you mean? Who is Drake?
But like, is this referring to the Drake? And does he have his own devil dogs?
I think so. Yeah, it's Drake's Devil Dogs is the brand, but
I didn't know that Drake was a part of that.
No, it's not. No. It's not Drake the singer. It's Drake, as in like.
Yeah, I get it's his. It's
no,
his.
not the singer. Not the singer.
What other Drake is there?
Just the guy who makes a company. Like that guy. It's Drake.
I think Drake should sue that guy.
You don't sue the Devil Dog, man.
I mean, if he wants to own devil dogs, I think that he should be able to. Risotto. I've never had risotto.
I'll take a nice rototini too, but I don't know what that means.
That is it for us. Thank you all for Cody deserves.
Hey, I love it. Let's go.
If the Colts lose, because I don't like love many of my teams. I'll be very like frank with you. And it's funny because our coach is actually named Frank. So I guess this is a little bit of a double entendre. But
Frank's red hot.
My relationship with my teams is very much love-hate. So like I guess like this might be more of a psychology thing or like a therapist thing I should talk to.
Probably.
But I just don't really give my teams a lot of love. I try to like hate or like give negativity to like make them better. It's like try to prove me wrong so that you can get to the point of I don't know.
Yeah, you're just more negative. It's fine.
It's like I guess it's like it's also me not wanting to be like the guy who's wrong on them and say like, oh, we're going all the way 8-8 or something like that. So like I don't want to be that guy. So I'm
all the way.
Like, I guess I'm like setting myself up for disappointment so that if we overachieve, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like coming into the year saying, oh, we're going to be average. So that if we're not average, if we're better than average, then it's awesome. Like then I'm excited. So that's kind of how I feel about the Colts and really all my teams. I mean, Texas has been very disappointing. Yankees, we don't even have to talk about. So going into this game, I'm not like saying the Colts are going to like blow out the Jets because they will lose to spite me. Because I think it's a very mutual like disappointment thing. Like, so yeah, like it could very well go the Jets' way. I really hope it doesn't, and it shouldn't, but I could see it happening.
I mean, hey, I'll take that partly.
More for Lockett and Hunt.
I think you're losing on that deal, dude.
I think it depends what you need. If you need more depth, I would go with it. But
if you need depth, I think Lockett is just not what you was. And I don't think he's going to have very many of those weeks. And Hunt's not coming back to what, week 12, 13, 14?
Yeah, I mean, you hope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Minnesota lose and Colts win, then you get a parlay. I'm willing to do it if just the Colts lose. I'll give them $5 parlay.
I'll take it. That's all I need, baby.
And I'll do Fashion Week next week. I think that's a very, very fair exchange.
Perfect.
But all right, 140. I think we got done like pretty quickly too.
We got done early.
This was a lot of fun.
We spent like 25 minutes on questions. So
I think more than that. I think we were like half hour.
It might have been a half hour. I think we should just do a show where we just answer questions all day.
We could do that. We could do like Sunday kickoff, like before kickoff, start sit questions, whatever.
Oh man, that would be something fun.
Yeah.
I would have fun with that.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more content for you in the future. Anyway, that is it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow with the rest of the games. We got to talk about how Green Bay is going to be without Aaron Rodgers. We got to make our bold predictions for the week. See how our bold predictions for last week turned out. Do I have our bold predictions from last week in this remote location?
Maybe.
To be honest, I don't even know. So we have to watch tomorrow to find out about all of that. You can keep up to date with all of. I think like there's a way to turn on notifications so you can see when we're live on YouTube and stuff like that. I'd imagine so on Twitch as well. So do that if you want to watch. If not, then that kind of breaks my heart. But you don't have to tell me about it.
Breaking my heart.
Yeah. So thank you for watching, and we will see y'all tomorrow.
See y'all then.